through the patio door. Front row seats for the excavation. When Paul's dog, Clem, plunked down next to them, Celia rubbed his floppy ears and petted his furry back. "What a good boy you are," she said. The dog yawned and stretched his legs contentedly. The previous day, the pool had been mapped out and stakes inserted in each corner. Yellow tape linked the stakes and outlined the edges. Paul had walked around the perimeter, trying to imagine how it would be when it was finished. Today, his dream would become a reality. Through the glass, Paul watched as the crew of men wearing orange vests and hard hats yelled directions back and forth. They began by cutting down trees with chainsaws. The trees came down quickly, faster than Paul would have thought. "Complete carnage," he said excitedly. "Poor trees," Celia said. Her blonde hair framed a frowning face. "They probably had no idea that today would be their last day. That's so sad." It was just like Celia to think about how the trees must feel, when really, who cared? The main thing was that Paul was getting a pool. He bounced up and down, almost upsetting the bowl of pretzels by his knee. "Yep," he said. "Sometimes trees have to die if you want to get a pool." Two of the men dragged the branches away to the wood chipper in the driveway. Paul's mother went outside to ask if she could have the wood chips for her garden, while Paul and Celia stayed in their spots. Now the digger was in position. One of the men waved to the two kids as he pulled the tape off the stakes. Celia waved back, and Paul did too, and then the digging began. The engine growled, and the machine scooped into the dirt, looking like a giant metal jaw eating crumbly chocolate. The men's voices were drowned out by the sound of the digger. All morning, the two kids sat and watched, mesmerized. The space was transformed from a backyard of grass and trees to a deep hole with piles of soil and rocks alongside it. The digging part of the project would take 2 days, Paul's parents had said. The first day to make the hole, the second to shape it and make it exactly right for the other workers who would create the liner for the water. After lunchtime, Paul reluctantly left his spot by the window when Celia's mother came to pick them up. Celia's folks owned a toy company called Lovejoy World. Today was the debut of an exciting new product, and Celia and Paul were invited to watch the ceremony at the factory. Paul had visited the company before with Celia, and it was always fun. Usually, the employees fussed over them and gave them treats, and invariably he came home with some free toys. Today, though, he found himself wishing he could stay home to watch the action in his backyard. What if he missed something? Man, it seemed like nothing happened in his life for years, and now he had 2 things happening at once. There was no point in changing his mind about going with Celia, though, because his mother would say he was being rude and then push him out the door. At Lovejoy World, he managed to forget about the pool for a short time. Celia's dad unveiled his newest toy creation, the Lovejoy Magic Wand Flute Necklace, and all the workers oohed and awed when he demonstrated how it worked. "What do you think, Paul?" Celia's father asked afterward. "Awesome," Paul said, politely faking enthusiasm. "It looks like a lot of fun." The Magic Wand Flute Necklace was clearly a girl thing, but the lights that sparkled when the flute played were pretty cool. When Celia and her parents dropped him off at home a few hours later, he went straight to the backyard and stared down into the hole. The piles were now gone, and there were deep tread marks all over the grass. His mother wouldn't be happy about that. The back door swung open, and Paul heard the screen door squeak. "Oh, there you are," his mother called out. "I didn't know you were home." "They just dropped me off," Paul said. "I wanted to see what happened while I was gone." "You didn't miss much," Mom said. "It took a little longer than they thought because they hit what they think was an old well a few feet down. It made such a racket I nearly got a headache." She narrowed her eyes and